Monster Hunter has a vast variety of builds and sets that players can create, but they don't always have to be the most meta. Some can be very niche or meme based, or designed to do more than just dealing damage to a monster. So I'm Darcblade with a Christmas build for the dual blades in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. This build is a quirky build that makes use of one of the most unique weapons in the game. This weapon being the Master's L. Having both sleep and paralysis, this is an ailment based build to represent how people feel during the festive holidays. On top of that, it's quite functional, having some DPS skills, quality of life skills, and more. Just make sure you're wearing the Orion layered armor, and you'll have a Christmas build ready to bring the festive fun to any monster you go against. So for this build you'll need the Golden Loon Helm beta, the Golden Loon Mail beta, Dragon Claws beta, Golden Loon Coil beta, and the Golden Loon Greaves beta. I'm also using a Master's Charm 5, and for my weapon I'm using the Master's L as mentioned, which has an affinity increase augmentation, health regen augmentation, and then a status effect up augmentation. As for the specialist tools, these are down to personal preference. For this build I'm using the health and affinity boosters. So when it comes to the jewels, you've got a few to play around with. So I've gone for Sprinter jewels for the Marathon Runner skill, Expert jewels for some critical eye, Attack jewels for the Attack Boost skill, Critical jewels for the Crit Boost skill, Paralyzer jewels to max out the Paralysis attack, Sleep jewels to max out the Sleep attack, a Mind's Eye jewel for the Mind's Eye skill, and a Vitality jewel for the Health Boost skill. If you were using mantles that could have jewels on, these are down to personal preference once more. So if you've done what I've done here, you'll have a build with 150 health, 100 stamina, which will be 200 health and 150 stamina when you're on a hunter taking all your relevant consumables. You have a raw attack of 458 with a massive chunk of blue sharpness. You have 40% base affinity, which can be 50% when you also take into account weakness exploit. You have a paralysis rating of 280 and a sleep rating of 210. And you have an OK defense of 1049 that is strong against fire and dragon, neutral against ice, but unfortunately weak to thunder and water. So when it comes to the skills, first of all you have Critical Eye at level 7. This is a skill that will increase the base affinity of a build, and it's kind of needed considering the Master's L weapon does have negative affinity to start off with. You have Divine Blessing at level 5, which gives us a greater chance at taking reduced damage when we take a hit from a monster. You have Attack Boost at level 4, which increases the raw attack of this build, and at level 4 or above, it will also grant us a bonus 5% affinity. You have Paralysis Attack at level 4, which increases the paralysis rating and build-up of the ailment, which should allow us to paralyze a monster more often, leaving them open to our longer combos. You have Sleep Attack level 4, which much like Paralysis Attack increases the sleep rating and build-up of the ailment on a monster, allowing us to perform controlled wake-up attacks. You have Health Boost at level 3, which allows our health to get to that maximum of 200. You have Critical Boost at level 3, which is a skill that increases our damage whenever our hits crit a monster. However, this increase in damage is only applied to the raw portion of an attack. You'll also have Weakness Exploit at level 3, which is a useful affinity based skill that increases our affinity whenever we're attacking monster weak points. And should these weak points be tenderized through Clutch Claw attacks first, this increase to our affinity is even greater. Weakness Exploit at level 3 can potentially provide us an extra 50% affinity. You have Marathon Runner at level 3, which is a useful quality of life skill for the dual blades that reduces the stamina depletion when we're in demon mode. And finally you'll have Mind's Eye level 1. This is a skill that prevents our attacks from bouncing off the monster's hide, which is definitely needed on this build considering we only have blue sharpness. Finally, for the set bonuses, you'll have two of them, both attached to the Gold Rathian Essence. For wearing two pieces of the armor, you have the Divine Blessing Secret, allowing us to get the Divine Blessing skill from level 3 to level 5, increasing our overall defense. And finally, for wearing 4 pieces, you'll have True Critical Status, which greatly increases the abnormal status effect damage, so poison and paralysis and such, when landing critical hits, ultimately leading to us being able to paralyze a monster more easily or put them to sleep more easily, as is in the case with this build. So there we have it, that is the Christmas meme build that I use with the dual blades. Whilst it may not be the strongest damage dealing build out there, it's nonetheless efficient enough to take on most monsters in the game. Being able to both paralyze and poison monsters means that you can crowd control them. When a monster is paralyzed, it leaves them open for your stronger, longer combos, and like I mentioned, when you put a monster to sleep, then you're able to perform controlled wake-ups that can potentially lead to a lot of damage. One aspect that is missing with this build is that you do not have the Clutch Claw boost skill, but given that the dual blades are able to tenderize in one Clutch Claw attack so long as they're performing the Demon Flurry Rush that goes into the Clutch Claw attack. This will enable you to tenderize in one hit instead of two, so it kind of eliminates the need for the Clutch Claw boost, although having the Clutch Claw boost would be nice, but we were limited when it came to decoration slots. But of course every build in Monster Hunter World Iceborne has pros and cons. When it comes to this build, Its first pro is its high affinity rating. Whilst not 100%, it's still very high, especially because we're using weapons that start with negative affinity, so it means that we can take advantage of the likes of critical boost and true critical status. On top of that, this weapon has both paralysis and sleep elements, allowing us to crowd control a monster, perform controlled wake-ups, and allow us periods of uninterrupted damage output against the monster. And then finally for the pros is the Divine Blessing Secret, which is this build's greatest defensive skill. But unfortunately every build has cons. For this build, its biggest con is the fact that it only has blue sharpness, unfortunately. This means that we have to make use of the Mind's Eye skill to prevent the majority of our attacks from bouncing off a monster's hide. And then finally the last con for this build is unfortunately it lacks evasion skills, so that is something to be aware of. Nonetheless, if you're looking for a quirky fun build, something different, something that's a little bit more seasonal as well, I strongly recommend this build. It's fun and it makes use of one of the most unique weapons in the game. So try it out and I hope you have fun with it. But until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you a Christmas dual blade build for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.